Welcome to my short 5 minutes or less review of Ratchet and Clank for the PS4. Ratchet and Clank is an amalgamation of action, platforming, and third-person shooting mechanics. This game was once again developed by Insomniac Games Incorporated, and you'll notice that there's a lot of similar elements and designs and level choices inspired by the original Ratchet and Clank game. This is a reimagining of the first title, which dated all the way back to the PlayStation 2 era. We'll begin with the gameplay, where Ratchet will use his tools of destruction to get the job done and navigate through hazardous areas while completing various objectives, whether they're main missions or optional missions. There's more than just death dealing here, even though that's a core element to witness. You'll be solving puzzles, doing races, meeting new characters in all diverse ways. There's a lot of excellence with the massive amounts of discovery to be had with the gameplay. You'll get an assortment of weapons that will upgrade over time implemented from the previous games, so it's almost like an RPG element trying to max out Ratchet to his fullest potential with this XP boost. There's also a huge unlock tree here where you can use the in-game Ratanium to upgrade your weapons, giving them newer attributes on top of the XP boost. This makes the player pick and choose wisely, since you'll come by the upgrade items for Ratanium a bit less than bolts. The mission structure in later segments where you race, man aircrafts, or have to sneak through facilities to avoid death traps never really got too boring or repetitious. In fact, these segments really broke up the monotony. It was all varied in how you approach the situation, while adding in some pretty vibrant paint jobs as to what makes this series shine in the gameplay department. When you're not having fun with Ratchet, you'll be playing in short segments as Clank. It's not as interesting as his Lombax counterpart gameplay wise, but these areas served as some decent filler, though one thing I could cite as uninteresting is the Clank chase sequences, which will feel like copy and paste later on. The graphics stay true to form for how the art style is known to look in the previous outings. Everything just seems dialed to 11 here with how the PS4 accommodates the sleek graphics. You'll see just bundles of cool looking sci-fi neon tailored throughout the levels, a cartoonish yet detailed amount of textures. I love the cool little touches, especially seeing the fur stand out on Ratchet's mane. A superb amount of detail, love, and dedication went into making this title look the best it could be. The effects have a certain artistry, and while the lack of 60 FPS is a little odd, it doesn't slow down the fact that Ratchet and Clank looks like one of the most exquisite looking games on the PS4. The music feels a lot more subdued here compared to previous games of the series. That can be considered a bit of a letdown, as older Ratchet games had no problem letting loose on its traditional score. That's not to say that all the new themes in particular are terrible, just barely noticeable in some areas. The sound design and voiceover work is still as brilliant as ever. James Arnold Taylor and David Kaye just really grew into these characters on screen. The acting shows, along with the humor, and the past callbacks spoken will appease upon initial hearing. I haven't played many Ratchet and Clank outings, so I'll mostly be rating their storyline experience as standalone. I am well aware the plot for this game is a reimagining with new elements blended in. You'll also get some less than spectacular moments from the film itself inside of the cutscenes, and this only served to get Ratchet from point A to point B. It's bearable, just the right amount of elements to start a planet-trotting adventure. However, the only memorable moments are when the characters interact. The characterization is just a focal point for most of the plot, while the story is a lot more linear in progression. If you played a Ratchet and Clank game before, then this is by far the easiest to pick up control-wise. The tutorial suffice, and this is easy to hop in and play. After I recently just got done playing Deadlocked, everything felt safe and familiar with this new installment. It almost felt like a scheme that got carried over, which is superb if you played the previous adventures. Nothing wrong with the controls at all. Ratchet and Clank is a bold, new reimagined journey, layered with several avenues of replayability like challenge mode on New Game Plus, differing, branching difficulties, unique weapons, and 11 planets to tour. Is still plenty of work to do and come back to after the span of 15 hours of gameplay is over. There's more than enough to come back. And while the story segments felt linear and the mission structure might not be excellent in bulk, none of that stops Ratchet and Clank on the PS4 from being a worthy investment, which is worth your time and hard-earned cash. I give Ratchet and Clank a letter grade of an A.